Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to this week's Sun Belt Conference Football Coaches Media Teleconference. We'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. We are now joined with Shawn, the head coach of App State. If you have a question for Coach Clark, please dial *1 on your phone at the time to get in the queue. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yeah, again, it was great to be back here at Kid Brewer Stadium at the Rock and in front of a sold-out crowd. I'm not sure how many Division I programs sold their game out on the first home game, but something we did, we're very proud of, and played a good Elon team. And Elon came in here and fought us hard to the first half, and we found a way to win. So we closed the page that night and started Marshall early Sunday morning, and we're looking forward to a great game against Marshall here on Thursday evening on ESPN.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate that. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald. Please go ahead, Dan.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Dan.
Can you talk a little bit about your defensive performance? I know you had a couple of guys with some big plays. TD had the interception return, and DeMarco Jackson looked like statistically he had a huge game for you.
It did. Our defense is playing at a high level right now, and a lot of the credit is going to our linebackers because they're playing at a high level, but really a lot of the credit goes to the defensive line. Their numbers don't show right now, but they're doing a very good job of keeping the offensive linemen off our linebackers. Were able to make plays. I'm not sure exactly what DeMarco's numbers were, but I think he had double-digit tackles, 3 sacks, a couple tackles for a loss, and then TD had the pick that went about 60 or 70 yards, and they're playing very well. But a lot of credit goes to their teammates because they're doing the jobs and freeing those guys up.
How much, I don't know if relief is the best word, but the way that Chase Bryce has played, how much has that helped install some confidence in your offensive side?
Well, we're very happy Chase is here. And, again, I was very vocal about that. We came here in spring ball. Once he learned our system, he was getting better and better as the day went on. But, again, he's doing a very good job of being smart with the football. He doesn't have to force the ball into places. And one thing Chase knows, he does not have to win the game for us. He has to manage the game, manage the clock, and spread the ball out some. But it has given us the opportunity to stretch the field some more vertical, open up our running game, and he's making better decisions. I know decision-making, he was about 85% this past week, and Coach Ponce has really been on about making better decisions, and we're glad he's with us.
I know you said you sort of turned the page already to Marshall. Can you talk about the challenge there? I mean, y'all have played a couple of pretty good teams in the preseason in the non-conference.
Yeah, we had a very tough schedule non-conference-wise. Anytime you open up with East Carolina and travel to Miami, there's two big games for us. And then you come back and you play Elon, an FCS opponent, who I have a lot of respect for Tony and what he does. And he runs a great program down there at Elon. And then you get a chance to bring Marshall here to Boone. And that's an old rivalry game. It goes way back. Again, it's two passionate fan bases. I think we should play them in my opinion, we should play them every year. I think if you go there or come here, it should be a sold-out crowd on a weekend game, and we're excited. I mean, that's why you want to play in the college football for the big-time games. And this gives us a great opportunity to put our program on a national stage on ESPN for the whole world to see.
One more quick question. You mentioned the weekend game, the short week. Do you have any concerns about that?
No, we've had a plan for this all the way through camp. So we had a preliminary scouting report on Marshall going through the camp. But, we played Saturday. Yesterday was a Tuesday for us, and today's a Wednesday. So we were smart of how we practiced to make sure our guys are fresh. We had to get work done yesterday or late last night. We'll go again this evening, just get the evening practice in because we play a night game. So it is 2 days shorter than what you're used to, but I'll take that anytime we get a chance to put our program on a national stage and show our brand on national TV. We'll take it.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dan. And thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. If everyone would stand by, we'll place everyone on a brief hold, and we're back with Jamey Chadwell of Coastal Carolina in just under 3 minutes here. So please stand by. Thank you for holding, everybody. We're now joined with Jamey Chadwell, the head coach of Coastal Carolina. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity here. But really pleased with our result of Saturday. Thought we went into a tough place to play versus a really good physical opponent. And we came out with a big win. On the road, it's tough to win on the road. And I thought our guys found a way to do that. Didn't play our best at times. Obviously, Buffalo had something to do with that. But thought we found a way to grind it out there and in a tough situation. So I was really pleased with that and the way that we overcame some adversity. And glad to be back home, here in Brooks Stadium for this upcoming game.
Thank you very much, Coach. Our first questions come from Howard Herman with the Berkshire Eagle. Please go ahead, Howard.
Hey, Jamey, from 2 years ago, what have you seen on tape from UMass that's different?
Well, I'd say one, they've definitely upgraded their talent level on all three phases of it. You can see they've recruited well there. They're playing very well together. They've got some young guys with a mix of some transfers that they've brought in there, and I think they've got a great plan in what they're doing, and they're playing hard. And they've played some good teams up to this point. I know they've not won a game yet, but they're much improved. And they've been in those ball games. It's not been easy for any of those teams there that have won those games. So we know we're playing a good opponent here. It's obviously hungry to get a win, but very much improved talent-wise and scheme-wise.
Is it easy or hard to talk to your players about this game, knowing that you have a full conference schedule ahead?
Well, hopefully, we every week we make that game the most important game we've ever played because it's the next one. So I feel good that we've got leadership that knows this is an important game and knows that we've got a good quality opponent coming in here. And so, you got to take care of what's in front of you right away, not what's down the road. And so we won't be looking past this game to go, looking into conference play. We're going our whole focus this week will be on UMass and going out and trying to play our best on Saturday.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Howard. Our next questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Dan, please go ahead.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
How important was it, you talked about grinding it out, how important was it that you were able to run the ball in this one when, sometimes it looked like you had some drops during the game? How important was establishing a running game?
Yeah, we didn't catch the ball the way we're capable of in some key situations, no doubt, that really would have made that game a little bit more than what it was. But at the end of the day, you no matter what, you got to be able to find a way to run it. And I thought we did. I thought we did run the ball well, especially when we needed to. There in the game, had to run the clock out. But it was a physical game. But I thought we did a good job of controlling the front and being able to control the line of scrimmage where we could run it. And so that was a big positive for us there because they're really good in the box. We thought that was a really good front seven that we were playing, and they were. And we needed to establish our running game there versus them, and I thought our guys did a pretty good job of that. I think first half not as much. We had some yardage, but we had some sacks as well that really set us back. But I thought we really established it in the second half, which was good to see.
On those lines, can you talk about Shamari Jones and what he has meant to your team so far this year?
Yeah, he's played well in our 3 games, and he's somebody that we think highly of, and we signed as a junior college transfer last year, and he played some for us, had a role, and obviously that role's increased this year with the losses that we did lose, and so he's somebody that we needed to step up that could run the ball in between the tackles, get on the perimeter some, but be physical, but have enough speed to hopefully, run through some tackles and make some big plays. And he's done that so far. And we needed that. He needs to step up and play his best, and I thought he has so far. And he was a big reason why we won that game. I mean, we gave him the ball quite a bit, and he was really able to get us some positive yards, especially in some tight situations when we needed it.
If I could ask one more, your guys have sort of been the ones that have shut the door on people over the last couple of seasons. you're going in to really put the game away, and you have the interception, and Buffalo comes right back. How important was it for your guys to, after that late score, to sort of put it away?
Oh, yeah, well, we definitely had a chance to put it away, go up 18 there with about 9 minutes left, and we just didn't do it. And then they go on about a 7-minute something drive there to make it a one-score game. And so normally we've shut the door down. We had the chance, we didn't do it, and then they come in and answer. But we did. We closed it when we absolutely had to. Now you don't want to sweat it out like that for sure, but we were able to find a way, even though we didn't make the play offensively when we had a chance to put it away, and then defensively we didn't have a chance. Obviously they scored, didn't put them away, and then we gave them a 2-point conversion to make it a field goal game. But when we needed to absolutely shut it down, we did. And so I think that shows the character of our team. We didn't do it right the first time, and sometimes you only get one time, but thankfully we got a second time and we're able to do that. So it's actually positive for us because it did show the character of our team. Now we got to fix that other stuff because it'll come back to bite us. But I think it's a great teachable moment for us.
We got time for one more. Alan Blondin with the Sun News. Please go ahead, Alan.
Hey, Coach. With your interaction with Grayson there after his interception, as great as he's been for you, is that kind of just a reminder of the fact that he's still young and he still has some areas of improvement that he can reach?
Yeah, I think so. It's a maturity thing. What makes him good is he's emotional, and I say emotional meaning he's passionate about football and he wants to win. And he made just a bad decision there, and you trust him. I trust him completely. So sometimes you call things because you trust him so much to make a good play, or if you make a bad call to make it a better call. And we didn't do that there, and he was frustrated, mainly at himself, but frustrated at some things, and that's where we have to, as coaches, you got to teach. You still teach. You do remember he's young. But we expect more from him. He expects more from himself. So it's a great learning moment for him, learning opportunity. Fortunately, it didn't come back to bite us. It could have. But one he'll put in his memory bank to know not to, do that again as we get other opportunities.
All right. Thank you, Alan. And thank you, Coach. That's all the time we have for you today. We do appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. If everyone can stand by, we'll have Kane Wommack on shortly. Please stand by. Thank you for holding, everybody. We're now joined with Jake Spavital, the head coach of Texas State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with a opening statement?
Yeah, disappointing loss this past weekend. I give a lot of credit to Incarnate Word and Coach Morris and what they're doing at that program. A very solid FCS program that executed at an extremely high level. Before the game, we ended up having, a good amount of players out due to COVID protocols and to injuries, where I think the final number was 24 going into the game. But, we ended up, still putting a product out there. We don't have any excuses with injuries or depth issues. And just talking about how that game went, we made way too many mistakes, offensively, defensively, and special teams wise. We had a botched kick on a punt return. We had really 16 plays on offense that there were negative plays or penalties or drop balls or just inefficiencies or just busted assignments. And then, just dealing with the depth issues that we had when we had a targeting penalty with DJ Mask early in the game. We ended up getting down to our fourth nickel that had to play the entire second half that, they took advantage of. They did a good job on offense, Incarnate Word, and really they capitalized off of our mistakes. They scored touchdowns anytime we had some momentum, and we got to stop on defense. We ended up getting a roughing the passer call or a botched kick, or we ended up fumbling. And every time we did some of those major mistakes, they ended up capitalizing and scoring. And I give credit to Incarnate Word, we've got, this is a humbling game, and, our kids got to respond. And I think we're going to respond. We got a tough opponent in Eastern Michigan coming up Saturday that is very efficient in what they do and don't make very many mistakes. So we have to match their effort. We got to play a clean football game. And we got to get out there and try to get back on track. So, questions.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. I know you were shorthanded, especially on defense. But are you concerned about your defending the passing game? I mean, they were able to have a lot of success throwing the football.
Yeah, no, they throw the ball around. They throw the ball 70% of the time. I think they threw it around 85% in this game because we were doing a good job stopping the run. But what they did, they ended up playing a game like it kind of felt like we were back in last year, when we had some COVID issues and we had some depth issues and we tried to protect players, so you sit there and like you listen to the headsets and they're like, all right, hey, we're going to put a certain person on an island, he's going to be in a one-on-one situation. And they ended up would take advantage of it, and then we were trying to protect some of the kids that, that were out there on the field, and they ended up throwing underneath and blocking it and screening it pretty good. So, we've got to be able to isolate those one-on-one matchups. We got to get off the field on third down. And, more importantly, we got to be able to defend the pass a little bit more in those teams. So.
On your throwing game, can you talk a little bit about Brady McBride and his performance?
Yeah, like what they did, the entire game, they came out and they're being multiple at the beginning, playing a 4-down front and 3-down front. But as the game went on, they ended up just dropping 8 the entire time and telling us to run the football. And I thought we ran the football efficiently at times. We're putting together some good drives. We are our own worst enemy on offense. We had 4 holding penalties, a false start. We had a few missed assignments up front, and on the perimeter that kind of put us in bad situations that you got to throw, and it gets difficult to throw in the drop 8 stuff at times. And I thought Brady had his moments. He missed a couple throws, but for the most part, I thought he competed well and tried to get the ball in play as best he possibly could. But he did manage it pretty good in terms of running the football. And that's what we had to do in that second half. But when we got into the throwing situations, it just got a little bit difficult for us to throw into.
What do you have you've got the one more non-conference game. Trying to get consistency, is that like the big thing in addition to hopefully having most of your troops back?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting week of practice because we got so many out right now, and once they get COVID protocols, we should be getting into the bye week and we should be good. But yeah, it's consistency across the board. I thought the defense, for the first 2 weeks had played well. And, last week, just with depth issues and where we're at, it felt like last year. And, we got to find ways to protect our kids a little bit more. And especially like they were a talented team. They had a great quarterback. They threw the ball around really well. And we got to be able to put our kids in better positions, and then you look at offensively, I just think that we're very inconsistent in what we do. I thought we were moving the ball efficiently, but then we end up having, 3 drop balls, 5 penalties. We have 8 negative plays. We have multiple missed assignments, and you can't do that. You can't play that type of ball versus anybody and expect to win. And we've got to clean that up. And we've had the talks on Sunday. We've had the transparency of, where we stand and what we need to do. And, you can't sit there and just dwell on it all the time. You got to make your corrections, and we got to move on. We got to have a great week of preparation, and we need to go have a good game versus Eastern Michigan.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dan. And thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. If everyone stand by, we'll be back with Chad Lunsford of Georgia Southern here shortly. Please stand by. Thank you for holding, everybody. We're now joined with Chad Lunsford, the head coach of Georgia Southern. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yes, no problem. Thank y'all for having me. Coming off loss last week, tough game versus a talented SEC opponent in Arkansas. Saw some flashes, still kind of inconsistent on our play right now. Was disappointed in our execution and discipline. We had several pre-snap penalties and then a lot of self-inflicted wounds that, and anytime you're playing an SEC opponent, you're not going to have a chance if you do those things. So still things to clean up. Positives I did see in the game. Special teams play thought was much better. Getting a lot of young guys, rookies, experience. Justin Tomlin being back, our quarterback, I thought he operated on offense very well, and we can see that our offense can definitely be better with him at the helm. And obviously this week opening up conference play at home against a very talented Louisiana team, and the whole goal is to go 1-0. So we're going to work hard to do that.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach.
Morning.
For a team like yours that needs to control the football, are you? I mean, you said Arkansas obviously has a lot to do with that, but your guys, only 11 first downs. That's not your team's style. Are you a little concerned about your offense right now?
I am, in the fact that we had too many pre-snap penalties, and then we had too many negative plays, which definitely puts us in a tough situation, because now you're looking at more yards you got to pick up to get a first down. So there is a little bit of a concern there. I do think with Justin being back, and I do think I think we're close, but I don't. Again, we got to make sure we're working pretty hard this week to eliminate those type of things and go. You know what? If we're not going to pick up a first down, it's because the other team calls us not to pick up a first down. It doesn't need to be that we're putting ourselves in a hole.
Do you think you've gotten what you wanted to get accomplished besides record-wise as far as going through the non-conference games and getting ready for conference play?
I think the thing that we don't have that we wanted to accomplish, if you go into it and you look at your schedule and you sit there and go, of course, everybody wants to be 3-0 in their first three games. We felt strongly that we could be 2-1 and, go into Arkansas and, play as hard as you can play, believe you're going to win, and try to get that. I think starting 1-2, I think is a confidence hit, and we got to do a good job with our guys this week to make sure they believe and make sure they play confident. And I think if we can play confident and we can play more, execute better, play with better discipline, we can be the team that we want to be.
What do you see so far from this Louisiana team that, last year's game, they just got you on a late, long field goal? What do you see as the differences in the team you played last year and the team you're playing this year?
Well, they're obviously 1 year older because, when you start looking at their offense, they got 11 positions returning starters at them. So they're definitely experienced there. And then when you look at the defense, you're looking at 7 of the 11 positions returning starters. And so, that's a very experienced football team. That's a football team that has done a really good job. Coach Napier and his staff definitely, have done a really good job with Louisiana, and they believe they're going to win every game. So obviously them being what they are on offense, they're going to be 50-50 run pass, so they're going to be very balanced. And then what they do, they're very efficient at it. And then defensively, really good players, base 4 down team, but we'll play some odd. And, I just think that because of their experience and having played Georgia Southern, played, kind of what we do on offense, they're going to feel confident coming in here. So definitely got our work cut out for us, and we got to make sure we're prepared and ready.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Yep, no problem.
Right. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We appreciate your time.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you, and we're going to backtrack a little bit. We are now joined with Kane, Wommack, the head coach of South Alabama. We're going to squeeze him in here real quick. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Coach, thank you for joining us. Would you mind starting us off with a opening statement?
Yeah, sorry, guys. on a bye week. I was a little behind there. I'm on dad duty this week with a bye week and doing lunches this morning and getting kids to school and all that stuff. Man, I'm going to need a nap by about 2:00 today. So I apologize, but I really, I'm excited to be able to attack this bye week. We're very fortunate as a team to be 3-0 right now. But I don't think we're anywhere near where we need to be, especially as we start to enter into conference play in less than 2 weeks. And so everybody in our building has to have an urgency to get this team better. And the things that we put on tape and exposed ourselves in week 1, 2, and 3 on film that teams are going to try to attack moving forward, we got to get those things corrected.
All right, thank you, Coach. We have about a minute here. We'll get in with Dan McDonald here from the Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. Just real quick, what does it say about your team? You're down at the half. You fumbled the ball. This is the type of game that maybe South Alabama doesn't win over the last couple of years. What does it say about your team?
Well, we didn't fumble the ball. We fumbled a lot of balls on Saturday, and that to me has to get corrected in a very short amount of time. We had 2 punts that were dropped, put our defense in really terrible situations, and we're really playing at a high level defensively right now. And then obviously we've got to do a better job of securing the ball offensively as well. I mean, even Jake Bentley, who everybody in our building trusts Jake and the way he operates. But when he took off on a third down situation and got the first down, then fumbles the football. So those are things that we've got to be able to clean up. But we talk about it all the time, operating with a neutral mindset, right? Regardless of success or adversity, whatever comes our way, we're just going to find a way to win because it is what it is, and it's going to take what it's going to take to win a football game. And that, to me, is the reason why we're 3-0 right now.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right, everyone stand by. We'll have Butch Jones of Arkansas State on here shortly. Please stand by. All right, we are joined with Butch Jones, the head coach of Arkansas State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Coach, thank you for joining us. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Sure. Well, first of all, a great opportunity to learn so many things we have to do to get better from this last game at Washington, and really kind of a synopsis of the biggest thing is just, everyone in our program, our players learning how to play with the details and the discipline that go along with the details down in and down out. We continue to be work in progress in all aspects. We are making progress. But, as we knew starting off, our schedule would be extremely challenging and very demanding. It doesn't get any easier this Saturday afternoon when we head to Tulsa, a team that played for the AAC championship last year and has pretty much their entire team and their roster back. Very physical football team. So, again, I kind of charted this course as we went with the schedule, and I think a lot of times, when you play the high-level opponents that we've played, your margin of error is very slim, and you are making progress, but, it's not probably as much evident in the scores or in the results just because of the quality of opponents. So we have to continue to be work in progress. I think, the other thing that really kind of hits me with the Tulsa football team is they barely have any starters on offense or defense that perform on their special teams. So that tells me that they're a program that is extremely depth and very talented. And, usually the teams that win championships at the end of the year are the teams that have the best bottom one-third of the roster. And they're a team, again, that's very complete and going to be a great challenge for us.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Luke Matheson. Please go ahead, Luke.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, I know Saturday didn't go the way anybody really wanted it to if you're attached to Arkansas State. But like you say, I know there's got to be a lot that you guys can learn from that game.
Well, there is. First of all, it's, everyone's really responsible for their own self-determination. That's not what we expect in our football program with the energy level, the passion that it takes, the toughness, down in and down out. All the intangibles, all the play intangibles are play character. Those are things where you start first and foremost. And then, the competitive grit, the relentless competitors, we can't, right now we don't focus for 60 minutes. We don't play with intensity for 60 minutes. We have spots, and I think it's a direct correlation to our practice habits. All that stems in practice. And again, this football team is learning how to win. And this is all part of that growth. Very disappointed in the outcome, but there were some things, to build upon. Like I said, when you play a quality opponent like a Washington or like a Memphis, every mistake you make is magnified. And we're going to have that same type of opponent Saturday at Tulsa. And I knew it. This schedule was very loaded, a great challenge coming in here with the quality of opponents. But, I'm hoping that kind of accelerates our learning curve and also our improvement as a football team.
You mentioned the practice habits. What are some things that you're hoping to change to rectify that situation?
Well, I think first of all, it's just, the intensity. In order to continue to get better, you have to have game intensity reps. So your practices have to be much more intense. They have to be extremely physical. When we thud, we thud. Right now, we're not a team that, when we tackle, we don't drive our feet for 5 years. We kind of, we're kind of limp in the legs and we just kind of tackle around the waist. There's no drive. There's no lower body explosion. Well, a lot of that stems from your practice habits and how you thud in practice and the physicality of your practice. And, I said it when we started is, what's going to be the DNA of our team? What's going to be the DNA of our makeup? And, we have an expectations of everywhere I've been as a head football coach of what's in our DNA and what's in our makeup. And we're getting closer to it, but we're not there yet. But you know what? The players have been great. I'm excited about their attitudes. They want to do it. They want to learn. And it's our job, as coaches, and it's my job as the head coach to continue to teach them. As long as they're willing and want to continue to learn, we're going to make great progress, and that's what I see.
Well, I know we can talk a lot about Tulsa and what they can do offensively, defensively, and special teams. And I know you want to go over there this week and end on a positive note with a victory. But really, is this week coming up, is it more about Arkansas State rather than Tulsa?
Well, every week it's about us, and we have to control the things that we can control. And it starts with our preparation. It starts with our attitude. It starts with our energy. It starts with our toughness. It starts with our team chemistry, and investing in winning. So really every week is about us. And then obviously when you play an opponent, you have to be prepared for, all that they do and all that they can bring you. But every week it really starts first and foremost with us.
Thank you, Luke. Our next questions come from Jeff Reed. Jeff, please go ahead.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
A lot of things seemed out of sync on Saturday. Could that be anything to do with the number of new people in the system, or is that just the way things fell on that day?
Well, I think, it's a combination. And it's like when I said when we started the conference, we're learning how to play with the details and the discipline down in and down out. And as simple as the first play of the game, our 5 technique is aligned basically in a ghost 9 position. So now we have a 1 technique, we have a shade, and we have a 9 technique, and there's a huge gap there. And, playing great defense is all about gap integrity. So, it ends up being a 6-yard gain when it shouldn't even have been a 6-yard gain. So we lost that play just by our details of aligning. So the big thing is, before you can ever win a game, you can't lose it. And I felt we lost the game with our details. And that's just, one example. So, I think this team is continuing to learn. I think they're continuing to learn really what it takes to prepare at a high level, and really kind of a standard and expectation the way we're going to do things here. And they're learning and they want to learn, but it's a day-to-day process.
Do you anticipate many lineup changes for this weekend?
Every week we compete, but I don't. But I think the other area, we need more individuals on our roster to step up in the role of special teams. And what's starting to happen is we have too many players that are on offense and defense playing too many reps on special teams as well, but we're always going to play the best players on special teams. So I think, a lot of that's going to be, too, based on special teams and who can step up in those roles as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. And thank you, Coach. That's all the time we have for you today. We do appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great week.
You as well, sir. If everyone can stand by, we'll have Terry Bowden of ULM on here shortly. Please stand by. Thank you for holding, everybody. We're now joined with Terry Bowden, the head coach of ULM. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. You can *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yes, it was a big win for us over Jackson State, 12-7. Big win because we haven't had many wins around here lately. First one since 2019. So it was a hard-fought game. Jackson State's an excellent football team, well coached. Really good athletes, and we had to fight our life off. And Caleb Sutherland, our kicker, was the star of the game. 4 field goals, 12 points. That was enough to win the game. That and our defensive play. Defense held them to about 25 yards rushing and 7 points on the board, and that was enough to win the game. So it was a great day for us to open our home season with a win that we needed very badly because we had not had one for the entire season last year.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
I know you had, like you said, Sutherland had all the field goals and so forth. Are you a little concerned that your team wasn't able to finish and stick that in the end zone and not have to settle for field goals?
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, we've scored 7 points, 1 touchdown in 8 quarters, and so that's something we've got to work on. We played a very good Kentucky team. It was a good, an outstanding Jackson State team, but we still don't execute well enough in our running game. We were shut down and held to field goals. Again, I'm concerned that we've got to get better. We're early in the season. We're very early in the progression of our program. And a big sore spot or a big area of concern is our ability to run the football and run the football effectively. Not just in the red zone, but to run the football effectively.
Obviously, you have a lot of confidence in Caleb Sutherland right now.
Well, we sure do now. I mean, and he kicked one before in the previous game. But, he was ineligible last year. He transferred from Oklahoma. He was ineligible to play last year, so you couldn't evaluate him. And we felt in the spring that he was pretty good. We got some other young kickers coming in to compete with him. But we felt like he would have a chance to be a pretty good kicker. It's all about accuracy and not so much about distance. He can kick 50 yards. Most kickers can. But he is shown to be pretty very consistent and accurate. When we get to the 25-yard line, I think every head coach wants to know, can you make a 43-yard kick? Because that's about what it is. And when you get to the 25-yard line, you want to think you have points. Now, we want to get some more touchdowns. We want to do a better job of finishing our drives. But it's good to know that when we have to turn to our kicker, we can get those. And, again, when you're turning a program around and when you're trying to just find a way to win, you don't complain too much afterward if it comes from the kicker as opposed to your running game.
One more quick question. You were able to pretty much turn them into a one-dimensional team, having to throw it around a lot. Does that help you going into a team to open conference play against Troy that also will put it in the air a lot, or is it a completely different kind of passing game?
Well, Troy offers its own problems in the passing game. They've been one of the best in the country for a long time. I've got a lot of background coaching against Troy, even when I was at Akron. and they've always been very good, and they're very high statistically in passing throughout the past few years. And they do present some more problems in the sophistication of their passing attack. I think Jackson State with a so they go out there and just execute basic fundamentals. Whereas I think with Troy, you've got to handle the speed up, the hurry up offense, the number of plays they try to get off, and the sophistication of their passing attack, and a quarterback that's now got some experience under his belt against and what we're facing with him. I will say this: I think Jackson State showed in the previous two games that they went away from their running attack a lot and stayed with their passing attack. So I think we just had to defend what they did. They passed. I think Troy with it, they're not necessarily going to turn away from their running attack. They're just going to try to blend it in. But anytime you've got a great passing attack, it is imperative that you stop the run, because if they can pass and run, they pretty much will dominate you. If they're just a passing team and you can limit them to just passing, then you may give up yardage and not points, and that's what you hope to do.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All righty.
Thank you, Coach, and thank you, Dan. Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us today.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If everyone stand by, we'll have Billy Napier on here shortly. Please stand by. All right. Thank you for holding, everybody. I apologize for the delay. We're now joined with Coach Napier of UL. Coach, would you mind start us off with the opening statement?
Well, it's time to turn the page. We're starting conference play this week. Certainly very pleased with the improvement that we made. This past Thursday night, I thought we got better in a lot of areas on our team. We're still working hard on some of the areas where we need to improve. I thought our staff did a terrific job from a leadership standpoint, just in terms of a 5-day turnaround. Really after kind of sputtering around in the first two games of the season, kind of got our players in the right frame of mind, and we went out and executed at a higher rate. We put the game to bed Friday. Staff was off Saturday, and then we were back to work on Sunday. So, conference play, Georgia Southern, Paulson Stadium, great tradition, history, a program that, the track record speaks for itself. Certainly always a very tough physical team, and one that, has been a challenge for us. So we're going to work hard to continue to improve, and that's what our focus is on at the moment.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. Montrell Johnson obviously got a lot of play for the 4 touchdowns, but you had 3 guys that all ran the ball very efficiently. How gratifying was it to see your running game sort of get kick-started?
Well, I think the big thing is we, it takes precision to run the ball, right? And I think for the first time, I thought that each position group contributed. I think the quarterback did a good job of getting us in the right play, making really good decisions. I thought we played really good on the edges. I thought the backs were decisive. Their footwork and their eye discipline was really good. And certainly up front, to get Carlos Rubio back was a big deal, and I thought we played our best game up there. And the receivers always contribute in the run game. So, I think when you talk about running the ball, it takes precision and detail by every group. And certainly the staff had a well-thought-out plan, and we executed it. So, I think that's what it's about. We're going to need to continue to do that going forward, and certainly Saturday it'll be important.
You got the touchdown right at the end of the half when you went for it on that last play. How big was that as far as confidence builder for your team going into the second half?
Well, I think momentum, is a big deal. Certainly, when you decide that you're going to have a philosophy that you go for it on fourth down. There's no question that, you got to have a well thought out plan. The players got to go execute it. It was a great individual effort by Montreal. I felt like we could have blocked the play a lot better, but he did a phenomenal job there. We rarely coach reaching the ball unless it's the last play of the game or fourth down, and he extended the ball to break the goal line there. Did a really good job for a young player. So, in general, it was a big play in the game. It certainly gave us a 2-score lead and some momentum going into the locker room at halftime.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you. Apologize, we ran out of time there. We are now joined with Chip Lindsey, the head coach of Troy. If you have a question for Coach Lindsey, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Excited to get a big road win at Southern Miss. Anytime you can go on the road and get a win, it's important, and it's satisfying as well. I thought, defensively played really well, as good as we could probably play, I would say. Did a great job harassing their quarterback. I think we sacked him maybe 9 times and really hurried him a lot of other times, and played very physical and tackled pretty well in space, so really pleased with that. Offensively, we struggled in the first half, but loved the way we responded in the second half. We came out and got some momentum, obviously scored 3 times, and I think that was a really good test for our team when things aren't going well, especially on the road. How we responded, I thought, was excellent, where there was nobody hanging their head and feeling sorry for themselves. We came out in the second half and played with more juice and really just executed at a high level. Wasn't a whole lot of adjustments really made. Just played better and executed better. So that was good to see. Got another big road test this week, first conference road game and at ULM, and got to have a great week of practice and preparation, and just got to continue to work to improve, especially up front offensively, and then I thought our special teams played a big role the other night. Our punter did a great job of flipping the field a couple times, Luke Magliazzi, so I was really excited to see that. We covered it well also. So all in all, it was a good team win for us, and anytime, like I said, you can win on the road, it's a big deal, so excited to get it. All right, questions?
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald, the Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. It
Morning.
seemed like even when Southern Miss had the little bit of success in the throwing game, that you had their quarterback under pressure the whole game. Was that like a plan going in to try to really increase that area? And how does that game rank as far as for you as games that you've been able to harass an opposing quarterback?
I tell you, it ranked way up there, especially. I thought we had an opportunity to really affect him if they threw it bunch, and they really, I think they got into a position where they had to throw it probably more than they want as far as drop back goes. But I thought our defensive front played extremely hard. And again, it's not always the sacks you get, but it's the times you harass the quarterback that really force them sometimes to make errant throws or throw it too soon or whatever the case may be. So. Obviously, Javon Solomon, Richard Jubinar, Louis Medina, Will Cholo, John Hines, those guys that played a ton up front, Antonio Showers, they all did a great job collectively at different times of harassing him, and it led to a good night for us on that side of the ball.
How important was it for you to come out and take your first drive right after the half and go down and score after really both teams struggled in the first half?
Well, I thought that was really the key to the game, was that first drive really probably, gave us an opportunity to win the game because of that first drive right out of half. And it was something that, we challenged our guys to come out, with a little more juice and a little more energy and really no adjustments other than just trying to play better and execute better. And we got into some rhythm, hit a big play down the sideline to Reggie, and then went ahead and punched it in. So, the second half was much better for us. We did have 2 turnovers, which is unbelievable. It's funny. I told the team yesterday we have 5 goals each week offensively that we want to try to reach, and we won the game and didn't reach any of them, which is highly, highly unusual. So it's something we got to improve on, and we got a long ways to go. We're somewhat of a work in progress right now on that side of the ball, but we'll go back to work this week and try to improve.
What do you see out of ULM?
Yeah, I think those guys on that side of the ball, they've got some guys that are playing extremely hard up front. Their D-line is active and big. They've played Kentucky and they've played Jackson State. They've only played 2 games. So, but you can see they cause Kentucky problems sometimes in protection as well as in the run game. So I see a defense that flies around. Offensively, obviously, they're going to go really fast and do a great job in their zone schemes. And I think their quarterback, the Rodriguez kid, and I know they play another guy too, but the Rodriguez kid seems like he's in control, makes good decisions. So anytime you go on the road in our conference, especially early, it's a challenge, and we got to handle all of that and go over there and play good Troy football.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we are now joined with Shawn Elliott, the head coach of Georgia State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with a opening statement?
Sure. Good afternoon. It was good for our Georgia State football program to get in the win column. We played a team in Charlotte that came in here with a lot of confidence, having defeated, I think they defeated Duke and Gardner-Webb on the season, so they were 2-0 and another out-of-conference game. So they came in here at our place at 7 o'clock last Saturday evening, and we really played pretty consistent and well throughout the ball game. Our defense really got after them. I think they had 276 total yards of offense, and that was really, really good to see because we had played a couple of tough opponents, and they had put up some points against us. But against Charlotte, we really kind of held them in check, and we had some guys step up, had a new quarterback that went out there and started the game for us. And as the game progressed, really did a good job in controlling our offense and just showing confidence in everyone in general moving down the field. So it was a good win. Today's Monday. Feels a lot better than our previous 2 Mondays, so that's a good thing. We've got a really good opponent coming up in the Auburn Tigers, so we get to go jumpstart this thing once again in SEC country down at Auburn, Alabama. So we're looking forward to that. Very talented team, but you know what? We're gonna go down there and fight our tails off and see what we can do with them. So we'll work hard this week and try to fix some things, correct some things, and continue to improve.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Stan Autry with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Please go ahead, Stan.
Hey, Shawn. How much better is life after a win?
How much better is it?
Yeah, you sound like a fresh man.
Listen, man, I'm telling you, winning cures all. I don't care. It does. I told them in that locker room after the game, I said, man, it just sure does feel good. There's something about knowing that you went out and executed really well, came away with a victory. Smiles were on kids' faces, coaches' faces, your wives, the families, everybody in general. It's just it helps everything out.
Well, you mentioned the defense. I was going to ask you about Justin Benzial, and he's been kind of a breakthrough player for you so far. What have you seen as far as growth from him, and what's led to his fast start?
Oh, really? I call him Venezuela. That's his nickname for me. So I call him Jordan Venezuela because I can't even hardly pronounce his last name. He plays with tremendous effort. He's always around the ball. And you notice that since he's been here because he's been our leading tackler in all of our special teams. And special teams is really about want to. And he's just has the demeanor to go get it. And he might not always be in position, but he finds that football. It's something about him that we really like. I mean, he plays with great energy. He's got good intent. He comes to practice with a great attitude and his attention span. I mean, he just is locked in all the time on what we're trying to do. And it's pleasing for me to see a guy like that because I root for guys like that to go out there and be successful, and he certainly has helped us.
Does it kind of typify what you guys try to preach, like the fighting and clawing and playing hard all the time?
Yeah, it's very easy. If you watched him in high school, he was a tackling machine. I mean, from sideline to sideline, and he just works so hard and enjoys it. I mean, he really, truly loves the game of football, and he loves to go out there and do the things necessary, the weights. I mean, he's a football guy.
All right. Thanks, John.
Sir.
All right, thank you, Stan. And we have time for one more with Dan McDonald. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. You mentioned the new quarterback. Can you sort of assess now that you've had a chance to go back and look at it, Darren Granger's performance?
Yeah, I think Darren, I think he struggled a little bit early on hitting some open receivers. They were pressing our outside guys, and we felt like we could take some shots and really get some quick points, to tell you the truth. And we had some overthrows right there early on, but I think that was a little bit just he hasn't played in an actual game in a while. I mean, in quite a while, to tell you the truth. And as he settled down, he really we got him in the run game a little bit, and he started doing well in that. In the throwing game, he hit those 2 back-to-back balls there for, our first touchdowns, and really settled in and started doing a really good job running our offense. So, I wouldn't sit here and say, it was a breakthrough performance by any stretch, but he did a good job, and I was pleased with it.
Was there anything different that your defense did in the second half? Because they came up with a lot of big plays when they needed them.
No, I think they played pretty consistent the entire night. They got that 1 touchdown on us based on really it was just a defensive call where they did a look to the sideline type thing and got a little RPO slant for a touchdown on us just based on the coverage we had shown prior to that snap. But all in all, we played really well defensively the entire night. It wasn't one in particular position. It was a number of guys, and they're really just flying around doing the things necessary to be successful. I think in our clips this morning that we showed, it was a lot of gang tackling, and that's a good thing. So we've got to continue to do those things to be successful, and I think we will. It's very evident to see if you do those things right and you get to the football like we did a week ago or Saturday night, then good things will happen for us.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
Yep, appreciate you.
All right, thank you. And I'll conclude this week's teleconference. Thank you very much for joining us today. A copy of this will be posted on sunbeltsports.org later today. Safe travels to those of you on the road, and we hope everybody has a great week.